Hello, Martin Petz from Social Stamp. This video is going to cover how to curate your content in your Facebook page timeline view. So it's essential that you do this between now and the 30th of March when your Facebook timeline view will kick in. So Facebook is moving all Facebook-like pages over to the new timeline format on the 30th of March. It's giving you this time from now till the end of March to curate your content. So that's what this video is going to show you how to do effectively. So it's pretty exciting, this timeline change, and it's essential that you get your content looking good for when your audience comes to your page and is able to see all of your timeline. You want to make sure that all of the posts that are visible in your timeline are optimized for your timeline. So this really is content curation for your timeline. So editing the content on your timeline really is a curation activity. So we're just going to show you a page that has done this very effectively already, and it's no surprise it's Coca-Cola again. So Coca-Cola have already gone through this process and published their page. The only reason I can see this page is because they've published it for everyone. There's a step before that where only admins of this page can see the timeline format. That is the time that you should spend curating your timeline. So what's really excellent here, the way that Coca-Cola have done this, is you can see on the right hand side that they've even gone back and created posts way back from when they were founded. Obviously Facebook hasn't been around since the 1800s, but you can see here that Coca-Cola have created older posts from before this Facebook page was created to give a complete history on Facebook of Coca-Cola, the company. Now this is fantastic. You may not have the resource to do this, but this is just a really, really well constructed Facebook page. And it's something that maybe you should just keep coming back to see how Coca-Cola have done things on Facebook and see if you can replicate some of those things on your Facebook page. So let's just see some of the recent history and see what Coca-Cola have been doing. So first of all, they've used the pin to top functionality of the new Facebook timeline, and they've made sure that this post here is pinned to the top left-hand side of their timeline. Now this is something that they obviously want everyone to see that comes to this timeline. It's quite a cute little poem and a little bit of fun, so have a look at that. So if we go down a little bit more, you can see that Coca-Cola have highlighted a post about the secret formula of Coca-Cola, and they've clicked on the star highlight button to extend that post right across the span of the timeline. So that's something that they wanted to pick out in their timeline history for people to see. As we're navigating down the timeline here, you can see just how easy it is to look at specific dates within Coca-Cola's history. The timeline dates on the right hand side expand out and make it very easy to navigate. So I'm going to go back now and have a look at some of the dates before Facebook was even thought about. Let's go back to 1990. Now this is great. Coca-Cola have added posts that have content that date from 1990. Let's have a look at 1981. So this is quite cool. A picture from 1980 in Shanghai. Let's go back to the 1950s, and here we have, it looks like an Italian advertisement for Coca-Cola that originates from 1958. So this really is amazing, the work that Coca-Cola have put into their timeline, and you can do the same. Like I said before, go and have a look at Coca-Cola's Facebook page. You might get some great ideas, but it also just will probably inspire you to come up with some good posts and even some historic posts for your timeline. And look at this, just gone back to the year that I was born, 1971. They've even got a video here that is a video of an advert for Coca-Cola from 1971. You may not have the resources to do this, but it just goes to show the power of the timeline and what's possible.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing with me. Perfect harmony, perfect harmony. I like to
that's enough of that. You can go back and have a look at that yourself, but it's amazing that Coca-Cola can go back and post an advert that was made in 1971 on their Facebook page under that date. So have a look. It's quite a lot of fun. You may get stuck in Coca-Cola's Facebook page for a while, but have a look. It'll probably inspire you to come up with some ideas for your own Facebook page. So now if we go to the Social Stamp marketing page, we can show you how to implement some of these changes. So what we want to do now is curate the content in our timeline. And what we're doing here is really acting like a curator in a museum. So if you go into a museum in London, like the Natural History Museum, for example, they will have hundreds of thousands of interesting artifacts in storage. The curator needs to decide which of those things in storage need to be shown to the public. So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're acting as a curator, and we're going back through all of our storage of content that we've amassed over the last couple of years on Facebook, and we are choosing which of the content to show to our public. So what we should spend time doing is going back through, and you don't need to spend a huge amount of time on this, but have a quick look back through and see what you want to highlight and show to the public. So I've gone back to February the 3rd and I found a post about the social media revolution. So what I can do here is I want to actually highlight that post because I think it's still very important and it's still relevant. So I'm going to click on the star to highlight that post, and you can see that it then gets extended right across the timeline. So that's something that I really want people to see. So you can see now that that's extended right across the timeline. So just going down a little bit further, I've got a post here that is about our free e-guide on how to set up your Facebook business page. Now this has actually been superseded. We now have a video that shows you how to set up your Facebook business page. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hide that from the page, because I don't think that that's relevant anymore for my audience. So I've hidden that from my timeline. So you can see that this now says that this story has been hidden from your page, and it allows me to undo that if I like. The other thing that I can do is I can permanently delete that. So if I delete that post here, it will ask me if I'm sure if I want to delete it. Click delete post, and there we go, it's disappeared. The only issue with doing it that way is I cannot now get that post back. So the other thing you should do is spend time, if you've got any comments from people on your Facebook page that are sensitive or you don't want on your timeline anymore, don't be afraid to hide those posts or even delete them. And don't forget, you can use the timeline navigation bar on the right hand side to quickly jump around your timeline date. So if I want to go back to the top of my timeline, I can click on now and it will skip straight back up to the top. So currently I have this post here, our video about timeline for Facebook pages update, pinned to the top of my timeline. That will only stay there for 7 days. I want to change that now. I'm going to move this post about our Social Stamp newsletter, which we released today. I'm going to pin that to the top of the timeline for a couple of days because I want to drive traffic to that post. So there you go, it's just refreshed and we now have Social Stamp newsletter post at the top of our timeline, and it will stay there until I remove the pin to top or 7 days have elapsed, and it will then no longer be pinned to the top of the timeline. So other things we can do. So don't be afraid to use the milestone post functionality. It's likely that Facebook will regard this type of post as having a higher edge rank. That means more people will see this post. I'm going to create a milestone post for when Social Stamp was founded. Location I'm not going to use, but I'm going to change this to 2008 and have it as August 2008, and actually make it the 1st of August 2008. The story field is to put some copy about the event. So Social Stamp was founded in Weybridge in Surrey on this date, and we're going to choose a photo from photos that we already have, and I'm going to choose our Social Stamp logo. Click on save, and there we see our milestone post back in 2008 when Social Stamp was founded. It looks really cool. So you can see that the milestone post spans across the whole of the timeline, and it gets entered into the timeline at the date that you just inputted into the milestone post. Let's go back up to the top of the timeline, click on now, and lastly let's do a post for something that happened earlier in the history of Social Stamp. So here's an example. I'm going to put a post about winning our first client. So Social Stamp won its first client today. 3 exclamation marks, and then we can say when it happened. So let's go put a date of 2008, add a month, I think it was September, and we can even add a day. I think it was the 4th of September. If we hit post, it will then add that post corresponding to the 4th of September 2008. And if you have things that happened in your history that you want to put in your timeline, you can do it now with this new timeline functionality, which is really good. So the summary is, add content that you think your audience is going to really love, especially if it's historical content that they can go back and learn more about your company, how you've grown, how you've brought products to market. Get all of that content into your timeline now. You can go back and create that story from even before you created your Facebook page. So enjoy the new Facebook timeline. If you have any questions, come to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/socialstamp. Ask us any questions you want to on our Facebook page. Or alternatively, come to our website, www.socialstamp.co.uk, and send us an email or give us a call. Our contact details are just here on our website. So that's it for today. Martin Petz from Social Stamp. Thank you very much.